Content over everything.
To my knowledge, a lot of people are being kicked out from South Africa simply because they are from a different background, such as Nigerians and such. And to me personally, it doesn't make any sense.
As far as I understand it, it's not something that started now. It started way back before even the South African Republic became a democratic, because people were taught to like separate and hate each other. You know, Zulus over there, Xhosas over there, Tswanas over there. And it's been ingrained in South Africans so much that it's still there, and it's something that's going to take a couple of decades, I believe, because it's not just about dividing the people, but also how they've been, how they got their education taken away from them, you know what I mean? So if you're in a poverty situation, you don't know how to think better, and you'll try as much as you can, but as soon as you get to a certain point, it's hard for you to see another person as an equal person. So one small thing sparks another, and the next thing, you know, brothers are hating on each other, and not because they want, but because they're put in a situation, almost like crabs in a barrel, you know what I mean?
But then you can't blame people that are needy. It's like the English blaming Polish people for coming to your country to send money back home. If there was money in their country, they wouldn't be in your country. So obviously they're in your country because they need to be in your country. So that for me, I think we're always blaming each other, but we're not looking at the bigger picture as to why would a man swim across the English Channel and risk dying to come and get a job if his country was okay. He'd be in his own country making money. So we're always looking at each other and we want to kill each other, but who's the one who put us in them conditions? Who's the one who set the conditions for us to be fighting over pieces of bread and crumbs? Because I know the Nigerian government's rich, but from what I hear, and that a lot of people over there, they're corrupt and they take the bribes from the Western rulers, and they steal all the money from the people. So obviously, from my limited understanding, it just seems like, you know, they can't eat in their country, so they've gone somewhere to eat. So, you know, it's not a good enough reason for people to kill you, but maybe those people that's killing them, they might be starving themselves. So now it's a thing where it's like, if you take my food, I'm gonna die. So you gotta die first. I don't know, that's just how I kinda, from a human understanding, that's just all I can really come up with.
What are some of the different opinions that you hear on the ground in South Africa? I don't know if you speak from South Africa, right?
Yeah, I'm from South Africa, yeah.
What's the people's general sentiment over there when you got this situation?
Well, there's a lot of different opinions, man, but like what I've seen is that some people have said it's government, because government does not provide enough jobs. They've promised a lot. And then on the other hand, South Africa is too flexible with movements of people from other countries coming into the country. So if you look at Botswana, for example, these type of things are not happening because Botswana has the type of economy that South Africa wants to be in or is in, but at the same time, they're not as flexible as South Africa in terms of like the movements between the borders. A lot of people see South Africa as a bit of a haven, you know, in terms of what is possible, but they get there and things are actually still dire in South Africa. They're not getting exactly what they want. So those things lead to the type of situation that we're in right now. It's really bad. Like, nobody likes it. It's happening, but it's because of desperation, poverty, that these type of things are happening.
In South Africa, you know, there's a lot of xenophobia taking place whereby, like, South Africans are attacking other Africans from other countries instead of attacking the real enemy, who is the Europeans that are in Africa. So it's a whole mess, and it's a real shame to see what's going on, you know, with brothers and sisters fighting each other. That's how I see it. I mean, the European is the real enemy because, I mean, the European has built the system whereby we're scrapping over scarce resources. At the end of the day, the universe has enough food and whatever we need for everybody to thrive. But, you know, the system that we're in only allows a few people to get all of that, and the rest, the masses, have to scrap for whatever little things go, you know, whatever little resources. So as a result, and a lot of people, they're not given the correct education as well with regards to what's really happening. So all they're thinking of is, man, okay, I I can't do certain things I want to do, and so they just look at their immediate environment and see that, okay, this person or that person is stopping me. You know what I'm saying? And then so it's like misplaced anger because of a lack of knowledge, unfortunately.
Well, for me, it's like Julius Malema of the EFF says, is that if Caucasians or Europeans or the oppressors can move freely, don't even watch that. Yeah, can move freely across across the borders in Africa, and are still in control of both South Africa economically and Nigeria with the shell companies and whatever. They're still in control of the resources of both places. So for me personally, when they're talking about xenophobia, or they're killing people like the Nigerians coming in and massacring them or whatever, we have to understand, yeah, that we've been through a trauma, yeah. Let's take it back to when they say Hitler was massacring the Jews. Remember, they had some form of restitution. They had the Nuremberg trials, yeah. The Nuremberg trials, every Nazi that was caught was put to death. You understand? Or given long jail terms or whatever. In fact, the state of Israel still hunts down people connected to Nazis. Now let's look in South Africa, yeah? Well, look at this now. In South Africa, yeah? Massacres, yeah? Apartheid. What do we have? Truth and reconciliation, where there's no restitution, no justice. You understand? So even this idea of reparations, it means to repair the damage that has been done. And we haven't had a chance to repair ourselves. So we're still trying to, hand me this book, brother. Oh, what was I going to say? Decolonize the African mind. 1 second. This book here by Chinwezu, Decolonize the African Mind. Even though, take a good look at this book, yeah? Even though the shackles have been taken off us physically, in fact, they're still on us physically in some parts of the world today, but even though they've been taken off us physically, mentally we're still enslaved, yeah? If the Boers, or we call them the Boers, can still be in South Africa right now with economic power, yeah? Then how are we killing our own people? We need to be consistent with that energy of hatred. You understand? So it's connected to self-hatred, for me, and I haven't got much more to say about it. We have to do better as a people, and we must condemn it. People in the diaspora must condemn these acts. You understand what I'm saying? But we can't allow the Western media to, twist it and make us look in the negative, be in the negative light. We must do our own investigations, because as I said before, if you look in South Africa right now, there's still the white minority that's in control of the economics. People like Julius Malema are trying their best to change it, you understand? But the power balance isn't, being returned to the black population, the black indigenous people.
What's your take on what the EFF president said? What's his name?
Julius Malema. Yeah. Okay, he said a lot of stuff, but which particular part are you?
I think in terms of, he was highlighting that the people that's doing the attack, they tend to be focusing on other Africans from the continent.
Oh, yeah. Very true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to what he's saying, because there's a lot of different people that are in the country, and a lot of them are illegal. The Guptas and all those things are part of it, but because what the black folk have been sort of pushed to focus on is like hate between each other. So when you see somebody that doesn't look like you don't know how to work with them, and you rather like try and work with somebody or fight with somebody that looks like you, because it's easier to understand what maybe their weak points might be. So there are a lot of like Asians and Caucasians that are in the country right now. Some of them legally or with whatever way that they are in. And I think, if I can remember, there was even a point where Thabo Mbeki, if not Zuma, said that even Europeans that are coming to South Africa should have a certain limit of the amount of land that they can be given access to, because when you look at the the currencies, you know, it's easy for somebody to come from like the US or whatever it is to go into South Africa and buy a piece of land, where in South Africa it's still very difficult for people to actually get their own land. So those type of things, you know what I mean, end up creating that animosity and also the misunderstandings, but also those different types of dichotomies that we're seeing right now, you know. I mean, a simple example is that me coming here, I had to sign like maybe 14 pieces of papers and show that I'm actually going to go back to South Africa. I mean, I love my country, I'm going to go back there, but if somebody wants to come from Europe to South Africa, it's easy for them to go there. They can even, in some countries, they can even just sign the document as they're in the flight and they get there and it's easy for them to stay there, you know what I mean? So those are the type of issues, man.
It's like over here, innit? The police will lick man down, arrest man, brat man up, and man don't do nothing. But when it comes down to being violent to your own race, you're violent. But I think it's a thing where it's just man scared of them. I'll just open it, keep it real. Man scared of white people, innit? And I think the history of the brutality of white people, Europeans, man scared because you know that there's going to be consequences. That's just how I look at it. And with your own race, you know your own race is weak. You know your own race can't do nothing to you. So it's almost like you picking on someone and that person looks like you. That's all I can really...
Yes, you have the courage to actually, yes, kick out someone that looks like you, that simply speak a different language from you, but you're not kicking out someone that's killed your ancestors and they're just there telling you cannot go to this area because we are there and they're not even from that country. So this, I guess, says a lot about people's mentality.
In South Africa, it's still like that. The majority of the wealth is still held by the minority, and it's something that comes from apartheid, where generational wealth has still been kept within that minority, and the majority still doesn't have, you know. So that creates that animosity and also that fear that if I go and I fight somebody who is usually my boss or some sort of like superior person in terms of like what people believe as a complex, then it creates that thing that, you know what, I can't do that. I should rather fight somebody who's easier to fight with, which looks like me, you know what I mean? Fighting the mirror instead of like smashing the mirror and saying, you know what's behind the mirror.
The self-hatred comes from, as I said before, apartheid was a serious thing, you know. Man like Steve Biko, yeah, who wrote the book I Write What I Like, a revolutionary, was taken out. Anybody who was a liberationist, look at how they tried to defame Winnie Mandela, yeah, and make her out to be bad, when all she was saying is that there's been no restitution. As I talked about before, we must understand the truth and reconciliation. They've been oppressing us, and all they can have to do is say sorry, or not even say sorry, just show some fake remorse. And there's been no restitution for our people. So we're still mentally enslaved. As I said before, decolonizing the African mind. Yeah? Decolonizing the African mind by Chinwezu. Yeah? Goes into it. Yeah? It's a simple thing for me. It's not even something hard to comprehend. You know? There should be no so-called xenophobia. All these characteristics we've picked up are foreign ideologies that we've adopted through years of being oppressed under the cosh of these people. We've picked up a lot of their ways. So until we return to our own way, yeah, we're always going to be in problems. You know, it's deeper than just a political issue. It's a self-hate issue. It's a trauma issue. You know, we're still in recovery as a people. Wherever we are, whether we're in England, Jamaica, South Africa, you know, we're all suffering from this trauma, you know, that hasn't been addressed. Our people are still marching for reparations. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody else that's gone through a period of time, which is nothing compared to what Africans have been through, have received some type of restitution. Could you imagine they called the Jewish Holocaust or the Ashkenazi Jew Holocaust the worst atrocity that happened in the history? So what happened to over 400 years and counting in slavery? You know, like it doesn't make any sense. We're a people who have gone through mental trauma and we need to heal. You understand? So as I said, it's not for us now to jump on the bandwagon of the Western media and jump on this xenophobe. We need to, those that can go over there, those that can raise awareness about these issues. Yes, my brother, peace, my brother. Yes, yeah, man, peace. Yeah? Peace, brother. Yeah. those that can have intelligent conversations and build around solutions. Because we all know what the problem is. And if you don't know what the problem is, I've already explained it. It's mental enslavement. You understand? It's a psychology. How can I look upon another black man and see him as my enemy after the oppressor still flourishes in my country, still controls the continent? And even now they're calling the Chinese the new white man coming in, the Lebanese coming in. You understand? The Portuguese still there. Well, in South Africa now, you still have, as I said, you got the Boers there. Yes, brother, bless up, yeah? We call them the Boers or the Boers, yeah? But yeah, the Boers, they are still in South Africa benefiting. That's what Malema's fighting against. Exactly. Well, I don't, as I said before, I'm not going to know this, but what I'm saying is that the light is being shed on black crime, right? Black on black violence. You understand? But the real enemy who's still flourishing in those parts, as I said, like he can move around freely. That's why people like Julius Malema are very, very important in this struggle for African liberation, because he doesn't tolerate the foolishness. You understand? As he said, one thing he said, if Europeans can move around freely in Africa, why can't Africans? You know, forget. You know, if an African man like from Nigeria has a business in South Africa, and a South African has a business in Nigeria, we should encourage that. We should encourage that. There should be borderless societies in Africa. Well, until we sort out North Africa anyway. Yeah, but in terms of Western Central Africa, yeah, we should be able to freely go across borders. We should freely go across borders, brother. We're the indigenous people of the land, you know. So as I said before, we need to look around solutions instead of just a problem. How are we going to solve this problem? How are we going to heal each other? How are we going to do better? How are we going to educate our children so they don't fall for the same traps? You know, because this oppressor is real. He doesn't stop, you know. He doesn't stop. So we can't stop either.
What do you feel needs to be done? Man need to develop the same level of respect. And man have for other people.
Well, my
On the flip, have the same level of disrespect.
no. Do you know what? You can't fight fire with fire, otherwise it's gonna be an inferno. You see what I'm saying? Like somewhere, like we have to have peace. You see what I'm saying? And for me personally, I subscribe to the Deen of Islam, and for me, that's supposed to unite mankind, because we're all gonna die and we're all gonna meet the Creator. We're only on the earth for a short time. We're here and we're being tested. So it's like, you know, we're supposed to be able to get along, and I find that Islam preaches and teaches that we're all from the same mum and dad, Adam and Eve. And we're all sons and daughters of Adam. And we're all gonna die, and we're all gonna go back to the same Creator that made us. We're all family. You know, we're being tested. And the reality is, this is my belief, that if we do good, we're gonna get good when we die. But if we do bad, we're gonna get bad when we die. See what I'm saying? But then at the same time, we've got to pay homage and be grateful to the one who made us, and acknowledge him and thank him, and, you know, do good deeds. And that's it. We're gonna get what our hand calls for. So if we do good, we're gonna get good. But if we do bad, we're gonna get bad.
Yeah, I guess people just say words and they don't really believe in them, because I'm sure a lot of you say, I believe in God, but what kind of God that is, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember the word. But yes, anyway, I don't know. Personally, the God I believe in would not be pleased with such behavior, regardless of the language someone speaks. Brothers and sisters are brothers and sisters, you know?
I mean, when it comes to the situation, I really feel like it just takes communication, because, I mean, of course, xenophobia is bad, but I still feel like the South Africans, what they're saying is valid, what they're saying. They're saying that, okay, we're here, and we got these people taking our jobs and this, and of course, it's a simplified version of it, but I feel like what needs to take place is just communication. the Nigerians or other Africans need to sit down with South Africans, and we need to talk about this and work together and see how we can both eat, because there's enough for all of us to eat. There's enough for all of us to win. So I think what needs to happen is communication, more communication. That's what I think.
The whole thing of promising jobs should really stop. People should actually start looking at each other and saying, how can we work with each other? You know, like a lot of people from Somalia are not going to get jobs that belong to other people, but they're starting their own thing. So if people can start thinking of themselves as being entrepreneurs and saying, what can we do for ourselves? It's the first way to eliminate that hate on hate. And if you can start thinking of somebody else as a brother and saying, you know what, fair enough, he's here, he's got some problem that he's experienced and that's why he's here, then how can I work with him? I mean, I've got a guy that I work with, he's from Malawi, he's a woodworker, he's brilliant. And sometimes I work with people from Lesotho as well. So I go to other people's countries to go work with them because I know that the skills that are in my country are not enough to create what I want. So it's just being able to try and understand each other, but government must step up and actually do what they can to help with the border situation, because a lot of people are coming in illegally and that does cause distress in the country. And then B, from that, actually look in the country and say, what can we do for our own people? You know, South Africa has the money, you know, so let's just see what we can do instead of just trying to look outside and saying we're going to hate on those guys because they're coming from a far off place. If they didn't need to come here, in terms of South Africa, they wouldn't be coming here, right? Yeah.
Anything else you want to add in?
Nah, it's those issues that are really there, you know what I mean? I mean, there are other issues like that do come up, but this one is rearing its head for the second, if not the third time, because it happened a couple of years ago, and it's sad that it's still happening, man. You know, I have friends that are like Nigerian, Ghanaian. I actually want to go to Ghana, but I'm so scared, like, you know what I mean? If I go there, I get perceived as an oppressive or a negative person, you know what I mean? Yeah. My wife is from Lesotho, you know what I mean? And I was in Lesotho like 2 days before I came to the UK. So those type of things come into my mind as well, and I go like, I want to go back to Lesotho and work with those people because they've got beautiful ways of working and manufacturing, and the skills that they have, the artwork that they create are the same artworks which France has to take back to Benin Republic and Nigeria and that. So if we look at ourselves in that way, then we realize what we have. If you look at, what's his name? From Cameroon, who got killed like many years ago, Thomas Sankara. The principles he was teaching back then should be implemented now. If there was more of him, then we wouldn't be having all these things. So it's not just us in South Africa who are creating these problems. Parts of it are created by the powers that be from outside, and yeah.
If you go to Portugal right now, some parts of Spain right now, some parts are even North Africa, yeah, where Morocco and those places where like Arabs have kind of taken that place, yeah. You have brothers from West Africa, yeah, that have to travel, yeah, and go all the way to these places to try and hustle some money when all the resources are in Africa. We need leaders with vision. We talked about Robert Mugabe, yeah. We talked about people like, yeah, Robert Mugabe, Patrice Lumumba, yeah, Thomas Sankara, many more. Like, we need leaders with vision. We don't need puppet governments who are going to take away all the wealth from the people, you understand, and make the people them starve. A lot of these African leaders need to be, you know, held accountable for their actions as well. Bad luck Jonathan, or good luck Jonathan as you call him, I call him bad luck Jonathan, yeah? Where's the vision for Africa? That's the most important thing. It's not how much college degrees you have. It's not all of these other things. It's the vision that you have for Africa. Until we get people in leadership like Malema, yeah, who talks about, you know, he wanted to kick it off. Let's be frank. He said, let's take back the land. We're not going to compensate nobody. We're just going to take back. It's ours. We're taking back the land. And some of the people were, if you saw some of the parliament debates with the EFF, it was very fiery. So people like Malema are very important because they've identified who the enemy is. Yeah, but he has identified who the enemy is. The enemy is white terrorism. I'm not going to say supremacy because they're not supreme. But it's, the apartheid regime is still there. It's just an economic apartheid now, man. It's economic now. Yeah, many of the Boers them are still in the upper class, You understand? In their gated communities, while the African people them starve and fight amongst the crumbs. You understand? Fight for crumbs. We need to regain our position on this earth, you know, as the original people of the earth, and take back our resources from the enemy. Remember, there was a point in time where China locked off their whole border to everybody, you know, for a period of time. They didn't do, even Japan, after they got hit with a nuclear weapon, they shut off their borders and started dealing with self. So until we have leaders with vision of self-development and self-reliance, because all the resources is there, we got people in the diaspora that know about the technology. You understand? We can do this. So we need solutions. We don't need to just be talking about the problem. How can we go forward? How can we move forward? Respect.
Content over everything. From your belly.
Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen.